Hey everybody, it's me, Buster Green, and today we're going to talk about Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku is probably the most famous anime girl in the entire world. She's done concerts around the country, she's done concerts around the world, and she's even sold Domino's Pizza. But despite all that, she's never actually had her own anime, which is ironic because everyone considers her an anime girl. Well, that is until now. Finally, things are changing. After existing for relatively 20 years, things are about to change, and Miku is about to get her first movie, Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage, The Miku Who Can't Sing. In this video, I'm going to tell you guys about that, what this movie actually is, where it came from, and how it was received in Japan, and the exciting news that it's finally coming to the US in about 3 weeks on April 17th. Okay, yeah, so everyone loves Hatsune Miku. Green and gray, the beautiful girl Hatsune Miku, the beautiful virtual idol singer who was somehow introduced as a lovely 16-year-old girl in 2007 and is somehow still a 16-year-old girl today, 20 years later in 2025, much to my internal discomfort. Remember when Miku was on David Letterman? That's how old she was. She shared a stage that Andy Kaufman once performed on. I love you, properly aged 30-year-old Miku. Anyway, Hatsune Miku the movie is coming out, and enough people have no knowledge of this information because the movie has very weak advertising in the US, so I guess I have to mention it because if I don't do it, no one else will. I was talking to my friends the other day and literally no one knew this movie was coming out. So I guess in this video, I'm also going to go over the brief history of Hatsune Miku and her greatest video game and TV appearances leading up to this brand new freaking movie. So yeah, quickly talking about the movie. So the movie came out in Japan quite a while ago, and it overall got ranked as a B-ranked movie in Japan. It was actually completely crushed and pushed out of the box office by Gundam G Quacks that apparently came out at about the same time. It did ultimately go on to make about 1 billion yen in Japan, but apparently the best praise of the film is that the animation is great, but it's not a great movie. So that brings me to the next question, well, what's wrong with the movie? So what's wrong with the movie is it's weirdly being produced by Sega, the video game company, who famously really doesn't make anime or movies like that. And actually, when you actually get into it, the history of this movie is actually pretty weird. So let me take a side story here, and I'm going to talk about the Miku video games, because the only thing I love more than Hatsune Miku herself is the Project Diva Hatsune Miku video game series, that at this point are all retro games, but the series originally dropped for the PSP, with the first Project Diva game coming around in 2010 for the PSP, and it was kind of one of the main games I used to play on the PSP whenever I would fly back and forth from the US to Japan. If I had my PSP or my PS Vita, Hatsune Miku was usually the game I played on the flight. Now, eventually, the Vita kind of died out, so they made a couple of them on PS3 and PS4 too, but they just weren't as good because they were always designed to be portable games. Now, if you never played these, what I absolutely love about these games is they're basically YouTube history put into video game format. They would take fan favorite songs that all got ranked on the weekly Vocaloid ranking of the best fan-made Vocaloid songs. All these songs were uploaded to YouTube by passionate song creators, and they would take these songs and reanimate them as video games, and they would set them all to these super amazing music videos that were all based on the original YouTube videos that were uploaded with the songs. And these reanimations really brought the songs to life and presented them in a new way that was just so compelling. The games are just completely filled to the brim with ancient, obscure internet culture, ancient jokes that all take me instantly back to the summer of 2009. I fucking love the Project Diva games that much because they're just a pure and celebratory look at the internet culture of 2009. An Egyptian pyramid of bygone era from a bygone culture of that time of YouTube. It's definitely the PewDiePie angry video game era of YouTube, and yet those guys never got video games culminating their history. Oh wait, he got one? It's just a Mega Man clone? That's interesting. Anyway, besides that, what other games really celebrate that early 2010s YouTube culture with this level of artistic respect and vigor? I can only say it's the Project Diva series. But yeah, looking back at the games today for this video, I'm filled with all kinds of crazy nostalgia just for how original and cool this was for the time, and even for now because no one's ever done it again since. There's some crazy ass Miku songs that just went viral on the internet, and they were all historically preserved in this game. The song Rolling Girl is basically about a girl in Japan who was being abused by either her boyfriend or her father, and that's in Project Diva forever, and that's crazy to think about. And then there's more happy examples Luca Luca Night Fever having the Octopus Luca meme because people thought her hair looked like an octopus. Now, there was also the Project Mirai series for 3DS. It's almost the same thing, but it's on DS, all the characters are super deformed, and it has touchscreen controls. But I still recommend this as well, because it still gives you that straight from YouTube to Sega pipeline, and it was the best of the fan community for that given year. Anyway, eventually the Project Diva games winded down, and unfortunately at some point they ended. I want to say the main reason they ended was just that the PlayStation Vita went out of business, and so when the PlayStation Vita went out of business, the Project Diva series was unfortunately replaced by Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage, a game I just cannot get into and cannot recommend because of its heavy predatory microtransactions and fairly boring visual novel storyline. Like, Project Diva was a game that oozed with love and was a pure celebration of the fan community, and Colorful Stage is just a predatory gacha game. It's your traditional visual novel, and it's not special to where the Project Diva games were. There's also this massive difference in, like, a game that promotes a song made by a no one, made by a song that just went viral on YouTube. I think that itself is the spirit of Hatsune Miku, whereas Colorful Stage is just a game where the music's good for sure, but a lot of the music is created by professional musicians to collect a paycheck. It's just not the same. There's a huge difference between something that was created for money and something that was just created because a person felt angry or suicidal and was trying to scream at the sad world they were living in. Like, that teenage angst is like all present throughout the Project Diva games, and I just don't feel like it's there in the Colorful Stage games. Like, as I look into the Colorful Stage games, it actually does have hundreds of songs, some of which are from the YouTube days, but I don't know, it still just seems predatory to me in terms of which songs are free, which songs are DLC, and the gacha game mechanics don't really make sense. I don't really get how you marry a gacha and a rhythm game. Now, don't get me wrong, I haven't played this game, but it's because I don't want to. I don't want to get suckered into spending like $400 to like unlock Miku in like a funny hat. Plus, on top of that, playing a rhythm game on my iPhone is just massive amounts of bleh to me because my iPhone just has pretty bad input lag, and I feel like that would definitely like ruin the experience of a rhythm game like that. And of course, yeah, so the main reason I never swallowed Colorful Stage was just that it was too money hungry for me, too predatory. The gacha mechanics put into it make it this relatively shitty Kuso game category that most recent cell phone games will fit into. Like, I just don't get why everything nowadays is a fucking gacha game. I just want to buy a whole product and be instantly satisfied with it and not have to keep feeding it money like it's a fucking arcade machine. Like, don't get me wrong, the Project Diva games were sometimes supercharged with DLC, but the DLC was always optional and always fun. So for me, I would only buy DLC if it covered a song I really love from YouTube, which would happen maybe like 1 or 2 songs per game. I guess if Colorful Stage was ever ported to like the PS5 or the Switch and had the stupid gacha mechanics removed, I would play it at that point, but as of right now, it's iOS only. Now, there has been a few times where gacha games have been turned into non-gacha games, the most popular one being Rockman X Dive Online, so I guess it's possible, especially with Sega backing them, but the gacha version would have to die first, and right now it's one of those gacha games that's just popular enough to stay in business. Anyway, I bring this all up because, once again, the main criticism against Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage the movie is that to fully enjoy and fully understand this movie, you have to be fairly familiar with both the internet fictional backstories of Hatsune Miku, her extended Vocaloid family, and then apparently some of the content from this extremely predatory Japanese gacha game is also required, as it explains the identities of minor, boring side characters who pop up from time to time in the film. Yeah, somehow despite Miku being a beloved global figure, somehow despite a Miku anime being something that people have been begging for 20 years, this movie is apparently a little bit bungled because it's apparently less of a celebration of Miku and more the ending to a vaguely defined gacha game that was designed to go on forever. This apparently puts Colorful Stage the movie into one of the worst genres of movies, sequels to obscure video games that no one ever played. I want to say there was like a bad Madoka spin-off that was also in the same category, and it also made no sense because the gacha game was never released in America. So yeah, it's not really a movie for people who aren't super into Miku, but I'm hoping that for me and for other Miku fans, we can see it and enjoy it. I will review the movie after I see it and let you know if it actually is a good movie or if people are right, it's useless without the gacha game. Otherwise, it does look like it's a kind of interesting movie, but there's really just a teaser trailer for it. All I really get from the teaser trailer from it is that they're treating Miku like some kind of Digimon or some kind of ghost, and I guess the Miku in the movie is broken and people have to fix her, which could be interesting or maybe romantic because maybe the main character falls in love with Miku. I don't know what happens in the movie. I'm just hoping Miku sings some good songs, and that's all I'm here for. Anyway, that's really all I know about the movie because in the trailer, basically nothing happens. All they show you is that the movie takes place in Tokyo and Miku is in it. You see Shibuya for a sec. I recognize Shibuya. That's kind of it. But yeah, in the US, there's literally nothing promoting this movie because there was no promotion for this movie in Japan as well. When I mentioned this movie to my friends on Friday, they had no idea it even existed, but they were super idea of it existing because everyone loves Miku and everyone loves the idea of Miku being in an anime finally. So yeah, I guess I'm going to see it when it comes out April 17th. I might as well pad out this video to talk about some of the other media appearances of Miku because they're short. Colorful Stage, the movie, is going to be Miku's first anime movie, and it's the first time Miku has been entirely focused in her own anime existence. But Miku has appeared twice before as an ancillary character in some other animes. I don't know if anyone's into Dropkick on My Devil. It's a stupid show, but the third season was called Dropkick on My Devil X. To sum it up, it's a super nonsense show where a bunch of nonsense monster girls live in Tokyo and try to prank and kill each other. And in this third season, they introduce Miku as another one of these monster girls, which is actually hilarious considering that all the other girls are these famous mythological cryptozoological monsters. That's ridiculous to think about Miku as a sort of modern Japanese cryptid, but she kind of is. She's like the internet girl. Then there's also this amazing child-focused robot show called Shinka Lion. It has a lot of insane crossovers with Japanese pop culture. For example, Evangelion crossed over with it, Godzilla crossed over with it, Miku crossed over with it, and I think that all happened at the same time. So yeah, in this show, you relatively get Miku's origin story that she was a child selected to pilot a giant robot, and then she became a pop singer at some point later in her life. Although maybe there's an implication here that you can connect the dots that this Miku died and got backed up and became the Vocaloid singer we all know and love. I don't know. I haven't actually seen this anime all the way, but I do love that whenever Miku appears in an anime, they always really play up the contradiction of what her identity is because she was created as a program. So that always makes her really interesting in fiction. Like, is she a human? Is she a robot? Is she a monster? Is she a digital monster? That looks like what they're doing for Colorful Stage the movie, and that's the reason I'm going to see Colorful Stage the movie. I do hope it's good. I do hope it shows some respect to Miku because we've been waiting for 20 years to see Hatsune Miku in a movie, and I'm excited for that. So come back after April where I'll hopefully have reviewed the movie in about a month from now. All right, see you guys later. Good night.